I'd like to call the meeting to order of the Urban Design Commission. It is 6:30 on October 23rd. First, we need to start with roll call.
Mr. Sawhill?
Here.
Mr. Tybor?
Here.
Ms. Sullivan?
Here.
Ms. Emerton?
Here.
Mr. Winchester?
Here.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is, we have 5 people here, so we have a quorum for the meeting. Next on the agenda is minutes, approval of minutes. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes? We have a second from anybody? We have a motion to move from Thomas Tybor. And it's seconded by Jerry Winchester. Are there any objections? Okay. Next, we're moving on to disclosures. Do we have any disclosures for this meeting?
I would like to disclose that I was recused from the case 2013-025 since I have a conflict of interest.
The wish of the commission is to continue to have Monica recused from, or Ms. Sullivan recused from participating in that vote for approval.
Thank you.
So next on the agenda is the interim election of officers. We need to vote for both a chair and a vice chair since they're both not available. Do we have any suggestions or any?
The messy business of the board can be done in private. We can arm wrestle to see who loses.
Can we get a motion to approve it to the end? Or just approve it? We just do it? Okay. So we'll move that to the end of the agenda. We'll do the interim election of our officers. Next on the agenda is the approval for the deaccession of the 1% art for the Ursa Major Elementary School for the suspended fiber artwork. Do we do staff report on that? Yeah. Do you have a, Sharon, do you have a?
No, the commission would just, somebody would motion and then approve, then you guys vote. But I just wanted to add that last time we had one of these before the commission, Steve Pratt had asked me whether the art piece is removed, once it's removed, is it replaced with another art piece? And I had said yes, thinking that was the case. But since I've talked to the curator for art, and she said no, once it's replaced, once it's removed, there is no replacement because they don't have any money to replace that art piece with. So I just wanted to let you all know about the correction.
Thank you. So do we have a motion for approval for the removal of the artwork at Ursa Major? And it's been approved or moved for approved by Thomas Tybor and seconded by Jerry Winchester. Do we have any opposition? Any discussion? No? Any?
I have a fast question. How old was the piece of art? I think I didn't read, I saw the piece of art, but my question is, seems like we are removing a lot of this art because it's getting old and it's very, very dangerous. Like, there's anything 29 years old? There's any dates tied into the art that should remain for a certain time and then it should be removed, or what's the rules for that?
Yeah, I've talked to Angela about that, and she's just come on the job in about the last year or so. And so she has taken on the task of looking at these art pieces that are in public facilities, and she sent out, information to all these schools, wherever we have art pieces, and asking the people there, what condition are these art pieces in? And then she's getting back, responses that say, this one's fallen off, this one's fallen down, this one, whatever. And then, so she's then going out to the site, meeting with the people, looking at the art piece, and then together deciding what to do. Can it hang on another year or two? Does it really have to come down now? Is it dangerous if it's being left up? And so they all decide, yeah, it needs to come down. And then, so she goes through the process with the UDC. But she is saying that the textiles, of course, are the ones that are most vulnerable and the ones that are most, are going to be short-lived, I don't know, whatever the word is. And so those are the ones that she's now tackling, and you're probably going to see more textiles coming to the commission because of this very reason. And so when she is sitting on boards looking at art pieces for public facilities that are now, they're looking at, and they have an art committee to decide what type of art to do, she's discouraging them from doing textiles because of their short life period.
Thank you.
Commissioner Winchester, can you speak to your motion? And with findings, or Tom, can you speak to your motion?
Yeah, well, just in reviewing the memorandum, it looked at the curator had followed a thorough process, had actually gone physically, inspected the art itself. It appeared that it had issues that were unresolvable, unrepairable, and damaged beyond repair. Consulted with the artist and confirmed it. So.
Okay. And any other further discussion? Any opposition? No. Motion is approved.
Yeah.
So next, we're moving on to consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda? Thank you, Commissioner Sahil. And I believe we need to poll. So I need a motion to poll.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move to pull item D1C, Resolution 2013-025, the sign variance for the Bass Pro Shop.
Can we get a second? Thank you.
Madam Chair, I pulled this resolution because one of the board members, Sullivan, has a conflict of interest, so that leaves us with a short board on that one. So we'll have to carry that over to the next meeting. And Sharon, do we need a motion to postpone to a date certain, or does it just happen all by itself?
No, if it's, I think within the next 30 days, we're okay. Is that right? Yeah, we don't know, so.
Okay, so we'll just schedule it next time we hope to have a quorum?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Well, in fact, we have a quorum, it's just we only have 5 members. So the only way this Bass Pro is ever going to get, approved is when we get another commissioner that would take Monica's place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because Monica can't vote, so we need another commissioner. So
We're stuck.
Is there any way, based on the fact that she wasn't party to that original decision, that she can't approve the resolution? I mean, it's a resolution to approve what we did is all we're doing at this point, right?
let us take it back to the office and talk about this and see if there's anything we can do other than wait for another commissioner. Yeah.
Can't ever
She's-
approve the resolution.
Yeah, Lori's probably right. Even though you're right, Jerry, that it is simply an affirmation and that this is what the commission decided. Yeah.
Did we have a second?
So the motion to pull and postpone?
Yeah.
It was seconded? Okay. Okay. So it's been moved and seconded to pull Resolution 2013-20 or -025 from the consent agenda. Is there any discussion or any opposition? Okay. That motion is approved. So now we're back to the original motion for the approval of the consent agenda. Which... So now we're approving the consent agenda. The original one was done by Commissioner Sawhill, seconded by Commissioner Tybor. Yeah.
And I have no objection.
Are there any objections, any discussion? Okay, it's approved and moving on. Lack of any unfinished business. So now we're on to the regular agenda. We will now be reviewing case 2013-134, the Alyeska Resort Development. Do we have a staff report?
Yes. Project Management and Engineering is requesting final approval of the extension of Arlberg Avenue in Girdwood. Arlberg Avenue currently terminates at the three-way intersection of North Face Road and Tram Circle. The project goal is to extend Arlberg up to 2,000 feet from its existing terminus just north of the Alyeska Resort Hotel. The road will be constructed with a 24-foot wide strip paved street, and the more particulars about how the road will be constructed is on page 1 and 2 of the staff report. Trees and shrubs are not part of the project. Drainage ditches will not be vegetated, but instead lined with rocks for channel stability and to decrease the amount of debris accumulation. Focus will be on preservation of the existing vegetation rather than providing new trees and shrubs. The submittal states that during construction, temporary fencing will be erected at the limits of disturbance to protect the adjacent vegetation from damage. There is an existing separated paved trail along most of Arlberg Avenue, but it veers off to align with North Face Road. This project extends the trail along the west side of the road. The trail will be paved, separated, and 8 feet wide. The project will have lighting. The mounting height will be 20 feet, and the fixtures will have full cutoff optics. A parking lot is shown in the plans, but it is not part of this project and will be developed by others. The approximate location is at the end of Arlberg Avenue extension. The parking lot will require a separate approval process prior to development. That's all I have.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for staff?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Commissioner Winchester.
Sharon, so you said this is final approval of the draft, because this says draft. I'm just trying to clarify.
Yes.
It says final approval extension, but this basically is a draft.
Right. What this was, it went to the Planning and Zoning Commission, and this is what they submitted was the draft DSR.
Okay.
Because when it goes to the Planning and Zoning Commission, they like to see a draft. They like to see the word draft there. That gives them the idea that they can change it. You know, they don't want it to come in a final version.
Oh.
So, and, you know, it's fair enough. But, so they've submitted the same document to the commission, but it explains the project, what they're doing. And so the project, for these road projects, they go through a 3-step process. It's part of the Context-Sensitive Solutions, or CSS process. They go to the Planning and Zoning Commission twice, and then they come to UDC for the final approval. So the first time they go to the Planning and Zoning Commission, it's a concept report, and it's really, there's not a lot of discussion. It really just says, this is the project, and it explains basically what it's about. And if the commission have any questions at that time, they can ask the petitioner, but most often the petitioner doesn't have any answers to the questions because they're asking really detailed, complex questions, and they haven't even finished the design work. But we're trying to train them and on that. And then it goes to the commission a second time, like I said, for draft DSR, and then UDC for the final round.
Thank you, that helps, because I was kind of a little confused where we were in the process, so.
Any additional questions for staff? Okay. Is the petitioner here? Would you come forward, please? Would you state your name and spell it for the record?
My name is Michelle Ritter, R-I-T-T-E-R. I'm with Dow HKM, and I'm the petitioner's representative. I've read the staff report, gone over the conditions of approval. We're in agreement with everything that staff has provided. The design in hands, when it gets to the UDC level, it is required to be at about 65%, which these drawings are. The corridor path is actually in a previously approved corridor, and it is pretty much constrained by wetlands, so there's going to be very little change at this point in the design that you see. So I guess with that, I'm here for any questions that you have.
And we have good. Commissioner Sahel.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Do you have any information on when the parking area at the end might be built? Because until then, there's kind of a road to nowhere.
We're hoping that the parking lot comes online with the construction of the extension. The way the grant was written, it didn't necessarily include the parking lot. It's exactly without the parking lot. It's a road to nowhere, so it's an important component. We're very committed to the community. We know it's what they want. In the interim, we're exploring if we can somehow sign the dead end so that people can park. LASCA is entertaining doing more beefing up the shuttle to get people there, maybe opening up some parking, to do what they can in the interim. But really, when it comes down to getting the core permit, they're likely going to need to see that parking lot, and so we'll go back and probably ask for more funding and maybe revise the way the grant was written so that it can include the parking lot.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I actually have a question for you.
Okay.
I understand why you're doing the rock and everything in the drainage area, but I know a lot of times they do plants to help filter the water. Was that?
That was a specific request from the community not to put any plantings in there because they tend to clog up and drain. So
Okay.
that was their
I was
request.
just, the only thing when I read that, I was like,
Yeah.
sometimes. Okay. There any additional questions for? Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, Monica, did you? No?
Gotta be quick.
I thought I pointed there.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Tiber and seconded by Jerry Winchester. Or no?
Oh, that was the last one.
Is it? It's on here.
It's leftovers.
No? Can I get a motion to approve then?
Speak to your motion. Oh, my.
Provide other opportunities.
It's the last one. Okay. That's been motion to approve by Commissioner Sahel and seconded by Thomas Tybor. Commissioner Sahel, would you like to speak to your motion and state any findings?
Yes, Madam Chair. In case 2013-134, I move for approval of the site plan and landscape plan review for a public road, subject to staff's conditions 1 through 4, on pages 5 and 6. And if I can speak to that again, I reviewed the project, and I believe it meets the standards for context-sensitive road project. It is a low-volume local road. They've kept it narrow to fit within the existing terrain and keep it narrow to minimize the disturbance of the natural vegetation and significant vegetation that exists in the area. And I think those are both good decisions, and I'm happy to see those. I think the project will be a benefit to the community. It includes pedestrian facilities and lighting, which I think are both important for this project, and I intend to support the motion.
Thank you. Anything you'd like to add, Commissioner Tybor?
Just that, it appears the petitioner's taken the, public comments regarding the drainage into consideration and has addressed those. So.
Have any additional discussion? Okay, the motion is approved. That's okay. So now I believe so now I believe we're ready to move back to our delayed chair and vice chair discussion. Oh, okay. Actually, before we do that, we have to address, we have no public hearings tonight. We don't have any appearance requests or reports. So then we're on to commissioners' comments and the vacant chair and vice chair positions. Discussion.
I guess my first question is Mr. Pratt still on the board, or?
No, he resigned, or he didn't resign. His term came up in October, and he had the just choice of whether to continue for another term or bail. He decided to bail.
All right. That's too bad.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
So now it's down to 5. Is there any prospects out there?
I'm going to contact some people tomorrow, but we've been in contact with the mayor's office, and they just say, throw up their hands and say, well, we don't have any applications in. So,
That's too bad.
yeah.
So with that said, do we have any nominations for chair or vice chair?
It's one of those things, either you're interested in serving in one of those positions or you're not. I guess we should have gotten together and had this rigged before we walked into the room, but, Tom, we've talked before to see if you're interested in doing either one of those positions. You've been on the board for a while. I don't know if you're interested. Monica, you're doing great.
I was going to say I don't have a burning desire, so if someone else is.
I think you could be a good person for that chair. I don't know if you're interested, but you have a lot of experience.
I've served as chair before, and
Okay.
I can run meetings, but, I think it's better if we share, and not have someone that's chairman for life kind of thing. So that's where I sit.
And I think Monica did very, very well. It's her first try, and no, not much. I mean, as with Humble other times, not much. So, I nominate Monica.
You messed up, you sat in the chair.
Does he have interest too?
Excuse me?
Do you have interest too?
Me? Oh, no,
No?
said no.
Do you have, Tom, do you want to serve in either capacity, chair or vice chair?
You know, I'd be happy to fill in, as a backup when there's an absence, as a primary. If there's somebody else that's more interested, I would defer to them. I think that Monica did a great job today, is the chair role. So,
Jim?
about Jerry, are you interested in anything? The chair or vice chair?
And Monica, when you nominated, you didn't say chair, vice chair, so we're not sure for you.
Okay. I nominate, I would like to move forward and nominate Monica Emerton as a chair for the Urban Design Commission.
And does anyone have any nominations for a vice chair?
I'd nominate Monica Sullivan as a vice chair. We just put. Oh, sorry.
Do we have any objections to me being chair?
No, we do
No.
not.
Yeah, really.
I guess that was force me to get more involved.
So now do we need vice chair?
Yes, it would.
So now can we get a motion for vice chair, please?
Sure. I was moving to nominate Commissioner Sullivan as vice chair.
It's been seconded by Jerry. Any objections?
I guess I should ask if she was interested.
She's willing to serve.
Yeah, are you willing to serve? Are you interested?
I'm willing to serve, and that will get me more tie into the process.
It
No
is
objections.
good. It's a good experience to run a meeting, really is.
Monica's are, we've got control of this place now. You guys are in trouble.
The Monica-
The Monicas.
show.
Yeah, you guys are in trouble. M&M. Watch out.
I still think you guys should really vote, or, I don't know. You think it's, we've always voted in the past, but we don't have enough to do it anyway. Yeah, okay, all right. Okay, we're good.
Any commissioner comments on chair? Chair, vice chair? Anything? Nope. Can we get a motion to adjourn?
Oh, we have a report, a staff report, chair report, anything?
I don't have anything, no. Well, maybe I do. I should tell you, Title 21 is coming online. It's going to be effective come January, so it's right around the corner. We're already getting, people are already submitting under the new code, for the new code. And so for the first year, all of 2014, when people come in and they wish to apply, they have their choice. They can either check a box and say they want to come up, they want to have their project reviewed either under the old code or the new code. And once they make that decision, there's no change in it. So, I think there's going to be some training for commissioners soon. but we've got to print up the new Title 21. It's just gone, it's supposed to go through the assembly. There's been recently a whole bunch of small changes that have been made to it, and they're making their way through the assembly to vote on those new changes. Soon as those little changes become finalized, we're going to print up the copies and then start distributing it, but it's enormous. It's like this thick. Some of you may have seen it already here in the business, but it's, but the ones of you who have copies of these, start looking at it, if you haven't already, because the UDCs, their role and responsibility is much, much more than what it has been, currently in the past. So you guys are going to be doing major site plan review. If we get like a new Target in or a new Walmart, it's going to come to you. It won't be going to the Planning and Zoning Commission anymore. You guys will even be reviewing residential subdivisions, new housing going in. So it's a really big jump up in responsibilities. So be aware.
So if I have a residential project, so I went and tried to print the residential part, but it's like pieces here, pieces there, and it's kind of confusing in the website because I believe I have the right document, but I'm not sure because I'm pasting things together. So how could we get into the document? Like, this is it.
Well, right now, you're only going to get the latest version before the latest version that's coming in a month or 2 months. It's going to be really tight. Erica had the changes made, but it kept getting kind of postponed at the assembly. It didn't get through their paperwork process in time. So it's getting late to them, and so it's going to get late to you. It's going to get late to everybody. I would say they're really small changes. There's a lot of them, but they're really small changes. I would say go on to the planning website. You go into muni.org and go in the planning department, and it should be there. Title 21, the latest version, should be there.
Well, it says something as like print Title 21.
Look at, I think the dates are on there, aren't there? I think the dates are on there, and just choose the most recent date.
Okay.
And that should, if you have any trouble, you should email me or call me tomorrow, and I can get you in touch with the right person who will tell you where to find it exactly. Because I don't go on and look at it,
It kind of sends you to, like, okay, this is the code, the Title 21, but if you are going to go with the new Title 21, then you should print that part down. And
how long ago were you looking? Did you do that?
How long ago? Like 4 days ago.
Oh,
we
that's
went
recent.
through the process.
Yeah, just email me tomorrow, and I'll put you in touch with the right person.
Okay, thank you.
And if the rest of you want to know, you can just email me, and we'll put you in touch with the right person. But it's a lot. It's huge.
It is a lot of changes, even
Yeah.
with residential. I think it's increasing probably the cost of projects a little. I mean, it's making a better community, but there's a lot to take in one hit.
Yeah.
So the additional training that's coming down, is that?
Probably about February. I don't know. It's we've got training set up for everybody. I mean, staff has just sort of been going through the training, just recently. And so, it's, we started working on this quite some time ago, but, we're going to have training set up for, people in the design, construction, well, not so much construction, but the design, like, we're going to invite architects, landscape architects, engineers, those sort of people, and we're going to try and do the commissions. And then my vote is we will have to include the realtors in there also because, we all get these phone calls from the realtors because they don't want to look up the work, look it up themselves. They just want to call and have us look it up for them. So we're going to have to include them on the training because it occupies way too much of our time when it's right there in code, but, they can't be bothered. So anyway, that's not official. It's just my own thought, but, hopefully they'll get on the invite list also.
Okay, well, we have a motion to adjourn and a second by motion to adjourn by Commissioner Winchester and a second by Commissioner Tybor. So I think, like, there's no objections. I think we're adjourned.